Listen.
I couldn't stop kenning, and now I can't stop stunting.
Yeah, I understand.
So The Fall Guy is a new action movie that's trying to take stunts to the next level. Like, the whole rollout's been crazy. They had Ryan beating up people at every talk show. They were shredding it up at the premiere. They were fighting with the literal title on the red carpet. Getty couldn't even get their images off without some Evel Knievel shenanigans happening.
That other guy just said this is the movie of the century. Come on.
I think that's a bold statement.
Personally, I thought it was fun. It comes from David Leitch, who spent 20 years doing stunts for some of the biggest movies out there that changed the game. And then the man turned into a director with the John Wick movies. And now he's got a couple of franchises. Man even created 87 North, which is a company we talked about in the past that helps lift stuntmen so that they could turn into stunt coordinators and even eventually directors. And now he's got a movie about the stuntman. They're breaking the fourth wall to the point that the opening credits are the script. It's one of those where the movie crew is on camera because the movie set is the movie set.
It's a movie within a movie that's meta enough, right?
Yeah.
Even the title has a bunch of meanings, with it being what a stuntman calls the person who takes the fall. In terms of a crime thriller, it's about who's the fall guy that they're gonna blame. And then it's also the story of a guy who falls in love. So they really wanted that title that had the
Quintuple entendre on that shit.
What's crazy is that I thought this was only gonna be a murder mystery, but this really is a full-on action rom-com.
And obviously you guys are a couple on it, for work and also just like in real life. So does it feel like when you see this film, do you still see like aspects of your own relationship, personal lives, somehow that bled into this?
Sharing the magic of movies is part of the thing that keeps us together and that brought us together, I should say, and probably keeps us together. And so I look at their story a lot like it's, our story in some ways, but that's me.
He's the fall guy. Man really said he didn't fall in love on set. We fell in love with movies together. Let me explain.
Can we just start from the top?
So the movie begins with a cool montage of some blockbuster stunts before focusing on a set where Aaron Taylor Johnson's playing the lead known as Tom Ryder, which is definitely not a play on a famous action star. Instead, he just cruises through this set while all the stunt people do all the heavy lifting, specifically Ryan. He plays the lead fall guy named Colt, who's crushed on the camera operator, but then crushes his back when a stunt goes wrong. 18 months later, he's gotten a bit better, but they have him looking like Rhodey with these War Machine buttons on his back. And this whole vibe that he has, it just reminded me of his role in The Nice Guys, because he's just mastered being that aloof goof, He's like the softest tough guy. I'd even go as far as saying that Ryan Gosling isn't the lead. He's just the emotional stuntman for the Fall Guys.
It's time for you to start rolling cars again instead of parking them.
After coasting as a valet, he just rage quits one day by pulling more donuts than Krispy Kremes, and he goes back to the movie business when he hears that his crush got her big break after his. Jodie's now directing her first big blockbuster that's a remake of an actual Universal movie called Metal Storm, and this thing looks like if Snyder made Mad Max up in space with Dune music and all. Before Colt even steps on the set though, they have him do this full 3D body scan, which we'll get back to that in the third act. But then he also meets the stunt coordinator and his buddy Dan Tucker, whose movie lines are just movie lines, but they at least have him quoting the GOATs.
But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward.
Now this is crazy. There's more yelling on this than a Mission Impossible production. They've got pyrotechnics going off early. The third act of the script isn't even ready. And to go with the re-release of Phantom Menace, they're venting about sand.
Look, I don't want to be that guy, but the sand's a little loose.
This beach scene ends up being their first stunt in their movie, and also the one that broke a real-life record, passing Casino Royale's cannon rolls with a whopping 8.5.
That scene is a great scene in general because Logan Holiday, who broke that record, is the guy that puts me into the car for a stunt he's about to do, and then he breaks the record, and then he pulls me out of the car and pats me on the back for the stunt he just did.
You were just eating a breakfast burrito.
After that is when these two finally see each other again for the first time, and she's absolutely pissed.
Anyone but him. I didn't approve him. You know that. You are literally the last person on earth I want to see.
She proves to everyone that she's a great first-time female director by recapping their entire relationship with the stunt guy in front of everyone on the clock. But she also compares the movie's story about a space cowboy with a dog riding solo because he disappears out into the sunset without a trace, and saying, yeah, that's him. And so she's whooping the ass of her old flame and setting him up in flames.
I'm gonna be sick.
And you know what? We're going to go again, Colt, because there was a little buzz on that one. slap the shit out of you. I really could.
And I'm open to that in a safer environment.
It's crazy to think that this was actually going to be The Rock at some point before Gosling came in and made it a bit more goofy, especially when you consider that Emily already worked with The Rock on Jungle Cruise and she's still wearing those same outfits here.
Even the gardening hat, somehow.
Everyone wears them. It's like a set thing.
But you look good in everything. You look good in nothing, whatever.
But if you ever went back to it, that press run with Dwayne was out of pocket, to put it bluntly.
When you guys start working together, what was the most annoying thing about the person sitting next to you that you had to overlook just to get the job done?
How she breathes. I'm kidding.
His gas.
Well, this one doesn't use deodorant, so you can imagine what that's
Wow.
like. No, I'm kidding.
That's the headline from all
Arms
this.
down.
Here, they're way more calm. Like, Ryan's practically a little kid.
Well, I don't remember the stunts that I did because I blacked out.
Because you were drunk.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Wasted.
They don't know you're kidding.
After the first day, he swiftly sneaks to his truck to remember the relationship via flashbacks, all set to All Too Well, the 10-minute Taylor's version.
What are you doing?
Just chilling down.
You been crying to Taylor Swift?
Doesn't everyone?
Poor guy. I know it's a stunt signal, but they've got him doing more thumbs up than a Pip-Boy. They addressed their fallout and agreed to work on the movie with no distractions. That is, until the lead goes missing. That's when the producer, Gail, convinces Colt to go out and look for Tom, telling him that if he saves the movie, he's gonna save their love.
Why me?
You're a stuntman. Nobody's gonna notice you. That's your job. No offense.
I mean, some taken.
There's a lot of real-life anecdotes from my journey as a stunt performer and a below-the-line crew in there.
So now he's on the hunt for this nocturnal animal. First, he goes to his condo and gets attacked by Tom's girlfriend just to, like, I don't know, give Teresa Palmer a job. Next, he goes undercover at a nightclub and gets drugged, causing him to see more unicorns and no jumper. And that makes this fight scene get all trippy. It's looking like a Lisa Frank book with all the effects. He delivers his own bottle service on these goons. But I like how this scene kind of broke the fourth wall again. They talk about how there are no stunts for Oscars, and that's something that the team has been working on.
We were already working inside the Academy for recognition with the core group of stunt people who've been doing it a long time.
Knowing that they're following the same steps that the casting directors are taking and they got their own category, that kind of makes me hopeful, you know? They even introduced the first ever credited stunt designer, because that would be the person who gets the gold when they go up there. And I'm pretty sure that it still is a stunt coordinator. They just needed a new name to get them the respect they deserve.
I'm still a stunt coordinator, but it's like people don't quite associate what a stunt coordinator does. You know, you have a production designer that designs the whole look of the movie. You have a costume designer that designs the whole look of wardrobe on the movie. And so we really want to kind of highlight that we are stunt designers. We are designing the stunt look of the movie. And so that's kind of having this title is hopefully I'm the first.
The first, but not the last. Chris
Yes,
O'Hara.
exactly.
And honestly, I'm glad that it's David who's doing this, because him and his wife have been producing a lot of stuff. They've been on major movies, and it's good to see that he's the one who's pioneering it.
Yeah, I left teaching. I was an elementary school teacher, and I went back. I drove my car out to LA, and I said, I'm going to be a stuntman.
Not to mention, Gosling also has a long history with it, because some of my favorites of his are when he's playing a stuntman, like in Drive or Place Beyond the Pines.
The first stunt I ever did was on a TV show called The Unbelievables, was a pilot that Steve Carell was in. I'm playing basketball and I inadvertently jump across the court and land in the hoop. And they brought in a stunt double for that. And then he disappeared and they kind of hid him in the shadows. And the idea was that we were never going to speak of this again, that he was never here. You did the stunt, Ryan, you did the stunt. I've had stunt double my whole life. I also started on a kids TV show called Young Hercules and I had a double there and I've always had a double. And it's always just seemed weird that doubles are not really credited for what they do, so it just all kind of aligned. I'm excited about this one.
Back to the movie, after stopping a car with his body, he gets the heads up to go find a dude named Kevin at a hotel as he's looking all busted.
What happened to your face? You look terrible.
You look amazing.
Jody then calls him to break down the third act before their second act, but I like how even though they're in different places with the split screen, this shows them in the same frame, mimicking each other without even realizing, showing how close they are to each other.
Dead body on ice.
He was so dead, Gail. He was super dead.
After finding a body on the rocks, this dude is shaken and stirred, especially when the body goes missing. On top of that, he's so goofy, he caught himself on the security camera, framing himself for later.
What's an ice crime? Are you saying ice cream or ice crime? Ice crime. Okay, it's just with your answer that's hard. I'm not reporting an ice cream. Yes, no, I get that. Okay.
The movie then stops the movie to shoot the movie within the movie, and we get a whole montage of production. She's holding the camera down here, even though his eyes are up there for the shot. They've got an excuse to show all the wires and logos on the set. And then we see all her various jumpsuits, which I thought was a pretty nice note, because there's only one time when she's not wearing it outside of work, and that's when she decides to go out on a date with him. and then this boy doesn't show?
Well, I was asked whether I thought Jodie was more Nolan or Greta Gerwig. I do wear a pink jumpsuit in it, which was a little ode to Greta Gerwig.
It was like Chris Gerwig.
What's that?
It was like a Chris Gerwig.
I'm like Chris Gerwig.
Yeah.
The reason he's tied up is because the producer tries to send him back to the US for reasons, but instead he stays on his own mission. He's waiting it out to meet with Alma, the PA, who has Tom's phone, and that's going to help them find the lead. But it's also when they take the time to do the Tag Heuer ad.
Great, now tilt the watch to the light and cut!
Honestly, I hate how good the product placement ad is.
Hey, did you get the call about directing the Tag Heuer ad?
I did. Sounds
and
like a blast.
Are you in?
Yeah, I'm in.
And I thought, what if you play the director in the commercial? You're directing the commercial, but you're also the director in the commercial. You're already there.
Oh,
It's too much.
yeah, probably.
Alma pulls up with the evidence, but only agrees to give it if she can get a producing credit, which is a nice metaphor if you look closely to how Hollywood works. But before he can sign the NDA that she just carries in her pocket, the garbage goons pull up and take her away because they're also looking for the cell phone.
We're getting tangled in exposition.
It was also neat to note that Stephanie's stunt woman shouted her out, because if Stephanie's talked about how hard it is to get a role as an actress, imagine a stunt person under 5 feet.
Nobody knows this, but I've been spying on all the assistants and PAs on this set. Alma is my love letter to assistants and PAs specifically worldwide.
Colton chases after them using the same GMC from the TV series, with both stars even making a cameo in the movie. Pretty much Lee Majors passes the keys to Gosling, and the mic to Blake Shelton, who covered his theme song.
When they were asking if you would do it, I said, absolutely. I don't even care, about any kind of don't mess this up, basically.
Now Colt's pulling a Batman on the highway, chasing after them. He's holding on like he's Agent Cody Banks. They're fighting on what's practically spinning teacups. But this is also the scene where I realized that most of the minions never die in the movie. Like, the guys just fall out of the scene.
I'll buy you a drink when this is over. Engage your core.
During all this, the crew's at the Fall Guy midway party while he's getting his ass whooped in the background, only for him to arrive late with his new dog sidekick, making him just like that character in Metal Storm. They then go investigate Tom's condo again to crack his phone passcode, and since it's getting pretty late in the movie, the producer just left it out on a sticky note.
Everyone was like, there was pads of notepads around and people could write stuff and put it on the wall, and everyone was joining in that day to dress the set.
They go through his videos and see that he killed another stuntman while going crazy at a party when he got one-upped, and in order to cover it up, the secret plan this whole time has been to set up Colt as the Fall Guy.
Nothing like a good twist.
Who doesn't love a twist?
The bad guys then come in, guns blazing, while they have a shootout with their prop guns, so Colt drops his fake 45 and takes a leap of faith, only to get tied up by the bad guys.
I never forget a fist. I don't mean it like that.
Turns out Tom's been with the savages who like to kick ass, because anytime someone embarrasses him, he wants them to die hard. And since he has a thing with hurting stuntmen, he even reveals that he's the one who messed with that intro stunt that took Colt out of the game and ruined his relationship.
You need carbs.
Also, I didn't realize that if you don't eat carbs, it does actually make you go crazy. So that's the reason why I eat a loaf a day.
I could honestly eat it for every meal.
You get fat.
No, why would I get fat?
Bread makes you fat.
Bread makes you fat?
They smother him in gasoline, which helps him do this circus escape, letting him drive off by boat as they set up an explosion in order to report that he's dead. That's when they bring back that AI scan from earlier, and they use it to deep fake his face onto the murder footage to pin it all on him. And that's something that the writer had added before the strikes had even happened, just because he thought it was a funny twist.
Let's make the best David Leitch movie ever. I actually said it in a darker way than that. I said, I'll do it if this is the movie that they focus on in your in memoriam at the Oscars, which is a weird thing to say to your friend in retrospect.
This man really has the end script tattooed on his fist.
Written in Final Draft Courier size 12.
Dude was so specific with the 12. He said no double space. Of course, Colt survives and comes back just to get beat up again by his one true love, but then they set up a master plan with him letting Jodie completely break it down.
I wouldn't want to Ken-splain, you know.
We then get the most obvious twist in the movie that even the dead guy could have figured out, and that's that the producer who's been acting sketchy all movie is the one who's running things. Like, they were even spoiling it in interviews.
Is it too obvious? Because I have to be careful because of the end of the movie, and them saying, no, the script is like the backdrop. And then we go and play.
Was Gail modeled off of an experience or someone that you know?
She did follow me around set for a couple of days, and I was sort of offended. I'm like, I'm not the villain of this movie.
Sure. And then she ended up in a wig, like a lot like my hair. And I'm like, wait, no. Like, her life is imitating art?
Their plan is to set up Tom to snitch on himself right before strapping him in for a stunt, knowing that he'd be too dumb to realize that he's wearing his own wire. But after they get the confession, producer Gail steals the audio at gunpoint. That's when they get the final chase scene that homages one of the OGs in the stunt community.
The airbag itself that he falls into, that was Troy Brown's father's airbag. Bob Brown, yeah. Who was sort of a legend of high falls. And Troy, like, you know, grew up watching his dad take these falls, and I think the last fall his father took was onto that bag.
Yep.
And then the bag got sold to someone in South Africa, and they tracked it, sourced it, brought it back, and Troy was able to fall into that bag. And when it was over, he signed it next to his dad's name, and he called his mom, and it just wasn't a dry eye.
And his dad was there to watch at the bottom of when he hit the bag.
After making a safe landing, they arrest the Hollywood elite and recast with Jason Momoa. Alma gets her producer's credit, the movie makes more money than this one, and these two kiss as they ride off into the sunset.
I thought it was just falling in love.
Oh no.
Which is the greatest stunt of all, is it not?
Ooh, jeez, McGee's. Wow.
Thank you all for watching this video. I'm curious to know your thoughts on this movie or any others that you want us to cover. But my outro question is this. What is the best blended action movie? Like, director David Leitch says he wants to add action to a bunch of genres, so he's done action thrillers. You know, this one's an action rom-com. He said he wants to do an action horror next, which I think would be awesome.
Very David Leitchian.
So I want to know what action movie you think does the best mix. I'm going personally with a couple of action comedies with Last Action Hero and Tropic Thunder, because I think those movies get meta right.
It's too much.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. That's why you're the director. Yeah. Of the commercial, not in the commercial. I'm getting confused.
Okay.
I can't tell what's real anymore.
Some of the bits I caught in my research was how different this movie was going to be until Gosling got on board, because it was going to be a lot less goofy till he came in to change the script.
Ryan came on early in the process, and we sort of had a treatment. And the original treatment was a little bit more like an LA noir. It was a little bit more grounded than this.
They even said that this man wrote the Barbenheimer Oscars bit, so if I had a Nice Guys flashback while watching this, I'm sure that others did too, because I know that a lot of people are patiently waiting like myself for a sequel. I know that Angry Birds beat it so bad at the box office that it's to blame, but I'm still hoping one day.
Greenlight it.
Mike DeLuca's getting an email right after this. When I get home with the footage, you know.
Do it on Angry Birds stationery.
Shout out Emily. Not only do I think she's the best co-lead, but her comedy is honestly underrated because be it on-screen or off-screen, I think she may be one of the funniest actors that's working. I think she even mops her husband.
It wouldn't be this movie without Emily. It had to be Emily. We were so...
Margot turned it down.
Well, yeah, there was after that. It was like, it has to be. It's not.
It's not Margot. It's gotta be Emily. No, seriously, it has to be Emily.
Other than that, let me know how you felt about this movie, what you're looking forward to next. And until next time, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll send you Ryan's driving jacket. Or some.
Spicy margaritas.